Yeah. Yeah. Guess who came back with a large fucking fist to eat the Brooklyn blast furnace? I brought your ugly bitch with me. Your shit is sus. Ain't nobody trying to hear you talk. When Jimmy's on the mic, they take your whack shit and turn it off. It's real life, not them stories that you punks say. He made it out alive, and he's relatively unscathed. So subscribe to the podcast and share the post and tell your stupid friends to do the same. You heard it here from Coast.
What's up, everybody? This isn't necessarily an episode of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace podcast. There's no band members or no musical guests on or anything like that. It's just me, just for a few minutes. I don't really talk about it too much. I might mention it in some episodes of the podcast every once in a while, but I'm not going to drone on about something that right now isn't necessarily at a standstill. It's just out of my hands. The majority of my quote-unquote heavy lifting has been done already. Talking about the book that I wrote. The working title is called Relatively Unscathed. I don't have a subtitle yet, like Life and Times or whatever underneath it. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. I finished it several months back. It took me exactly 13 months to do it. I'll just reiterate. Some of you already know this story, but if there's a few of you that don't, this is why I'm doing this. Back years ago, I did 2 episodes of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace, episodes 49 and 51, just called Jimmy Ferrari Life and Times. I'm not sure why I had the urge to literally puke my entire life story out there into 2 different parts. A lot of it was surface stuff, not really getting, I mean, I got into some things, but a lot of it I really didn't. It's just time is a factor, and I would have been talking for a fucking 3 days straight if I would have put all the stories and shit in. Once I put out the first episode, I got countless messages, text messages, phone calls, saying that that whole shit should be like a movie. I should write a book. People were just being silly. That should be a Netflix series, all this crazy stuff. And I'm just, like I said before, I don't know why I decided to do it, because I'm not like that kind of a person where, listen, I'm not a famous person. I don't want to be a famous person. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not in a band. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm just a Brooklyn knucklehead that goes to work every day, takes care of what he needs to take care of. And I just so happen to have, some people think it's like, I guess the word would be interesting, crazy, I don't know, life. Early on, it was things that happened to happen, you know, my surroundings, things that I wasn't responsible for. A lot of things I did create. I created a lot of chaos in my life, especially in my teenage years and beyond. So once I put out that first episode, there was several things, like I was in the Air Force, and like I could have spoken about the Air Force for 3 hours, but I kind of just touched on a few things. There's several different topics that I just touched on that people were like, yo, I want to know more about such and such and such. So that's why I decided to do a part 2, basically filling in the blanks somewhat. And I got all these things, should write a book, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, like that was never my intention. I'm not an author. People still to this day, you wrote a whole book, you're an author. No, I'm not. Um, it just sounds weird to me. I used to have my sister help me with my book reports and do book reports with me when I was in elementary school. An author, I'm not. But for some reason, I'm going to say about a year and a half ago, I woke up. I wish I had a better story for it, but I woke up for work one morning, and it was like the second thought in my mind was, I think I'm going to write a book. It was just a thought. Then posted some shit up on Facebook or whatever, basically saying, I think I'm going to write a book. And a friend of mine, my friend Dominic, he hits me up later on that day, and he's like, "You're going to write a book?" And I'm like, I don't know. Sounds good, but who the hell knows? So, make a long story short, he put me in touch with his father-in-law, who I had no idea was a very, very well-respected, super successful editor since 1969, who edited several Stephen King books, The Stand, Pet Sematary, I believe Needful Things, I think. Whole bunch of books. The dude has worked with everybody. Just so happens to be my friend's father. Had no idea. So I got in touch with him, and he asked me how much I have written. And at that time, there was nothing. And I told him my story, and he was like, "How are you not in a mental institution?" I said, "I don't know. No one ever said I was normal. You will never hear me say that I'm normal. Delusional, I am not." So I started to write. And I wrote every day, no matter what. Sometimes I would write a paragraph. Sometimes I would write 30 pages, depending on my mood, depending on what else was going on in my life. So Pat Labruto, who is my editor, he told me it would take me about 5 years. I was like, there's no way. So 13 months to the day, I handed him 753 pages. The book is not going to be 753 pages. That's ridiculous. I do not know how many pages it's going to be. I did learn, forget about learning about myself or my family during this entire process, but I just learned about a little bit about how a book, what it goes through, all the edits and whatnot. It goes through 5 stages of edits. 5. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think the first edit is the longest, takes the longest. So I recently got back. He would give it to me a few hundred pages at a time. I recently got back the entire book after the first edit. We have 4 stages of edit still left to go. So people are like, "Oh, is the book out yet?" It's like, dude, I'm not writing a fanzine. I'm not writing a blog. Like, this is a legitimate book that I had no intentions of really writing in the beginning. I don't have any expectations of being a best-selling author, any of that kind of shit whatsoever. I don't approach things looking for dollar signs. I have a good job. I'm self-sufficient, so I'm not looking to become this fucking author. So, yeah. So I got the first entire edit back. It's interesting what he thought should be taken out, but I understand how he's molding it to be more about me and my mindset through certain things, because like I said, I've never written anything before. So I'm writing stories about shit that I've done. And some of it absolutely takes, is a part of it and will remain in there because these things make me who I am throughout the years and molded me in the whole deal. Everybody's like, you understand when you were a kid, certain things happen the way you look at the world, the way you look at certain people, the way your own shit, and your own personal weird little world that only you know about. Life just makes everyone different, and I'm no different. I don't think that my story is necessary. I don't like the word unique. Everybody has their story. There's a million people that have gone through basically the same kind of things that I've gone through. Drinking, drugs, this, that, fights, this, that, and the other thing. But there's certain things that I think that are incorporated with that make it a little bit maybe more unique than the average person. Who knows? I mean, everyone has a story, so I can't sit here and judge and be like, my story is more interesting than yours. That's stupid, because who the hell am I? Why would you, who's listening to this or watching this, think that my shit would be interesting either? Like, it's just a weird thing to me. I don't know how to process it. It's still weird to me that I wrote a fucking book. So on the Facebook group, there's a page and a group. The group is the active one. Like, the page is like whatever, but it's called Relatively Unscathed Group. And I believe in parentheses it says book. I posted something recently over there saying, because I don't really post anything unless I have an update and I have something to talk about. So I had posted that I had gotten the entire book back during the first edit, and that maybe if I felt like it, I'll read like a couple of pages of the book here. What I will read as of right now is not highlighted to be deleted out of the book, but there's 4 more stages of edits, so I cannot guarantee that what I'm going to read will stay. It most likely will, because it's a very pivotal thing as a kid. So I don't see any reason why Pat would want to recommend me take it out. And I'm going by his recommendations. This dude's been doing this shit for 50-something years. So I'm taking his advice. All right, so what I will read, I'm not going to hold you hostage with like story time from Jimmy Ferrari for fucking another hour and a half. I'm not going to do that to you. But now, what I'm going to read now, there's something that I want to clarify. Like, there's a lot of shitty things in the book. There's sad things in the book. There's a lot of funny things. There's ridiculous, embarrassing, stupid shit. Like, there's fun times too. So I don't want people to think that I'm doing this book for some sort of pity party or like it's some sob story, because it's literally not. I'm doing very well. I'm sober over a decade. Like, I have a great relationship, even with my ex-wife, my daughter's mother, my daughter. Like the people that I have in my life are all positive people. I cut out all the cancerous people and the negative assholes and the fucking drama queens and all that shit. Everyone's gone that I don't want to associate with. So by no means is this book a sob story. I think that in the end, it's kind of a happy ending. I feel like I sound so stupid saying that, but it's true. But it's I guess it's just a day in the life, or the life and times of just another person, that the average person that's not in the spotlight of being a celebrity or a sports figure or whatever. All right. So now, bear with me. Because even though I wrote the fucking thing, if I stutter a little bit, don't judge me. Please try not to. But I just need to set the tone here, and let you know what was going on a little bit before that I'm not going to read. I'm just going to say. I was 11 years, I was 10 years old. 10 years old? I was 11 years old. At the time, I was living in Rockaway with my biological father, who was an abusive piece of shit. My mother had already gotten divorced and had met my stepfather, whose name in this whole book has been changed. I will not say his real first name, but his name, I call him, his name in this book is Rocky, and there's a reason for that. And I say why towards the end of the book, why his name is Rocky. It has nothing to do with Rocky Balboa or anything like that. It's something of his own. So, all right, here we go. I'm getting old, so I have to make sure that I can see. My eyes are going. All right. During dinner one Sunday night in February of 1987, me, Mom, my sister, and Rocky were making small talk and joking around. When my mom looked at me and asked, Jim, do you think your father would let you go away for a week? I was a little taken back by the question. I don't know. It depends on his mood, I guess. Where? We want to take you and your sister on a trip to Disney World, Rocky answered my mother. I don't know. I hope so. I'll ask him, but I don't know if I can ask him when I go home tonight. I have to see when he's in a good mood. It was a Saturday afternoon and we were watching a bicycle race on Wide World of Sports. He seemed calm, so I decided to roll the dice and finally get the question off my chest. Dad, would you let me go on vacation for a week with Mom, my sister, and Rocky? Where? Disney World. When? I'm not sure. We were just waiting to see if you'd let me before it was planned. Okay, just let me know when. Really? Yeah, it's fine. Nothing over the next couple of days bothered me. All I could think about was getting out of Rockaway, away from my father, and spending a week in Florida with my mom and sister. She called me that next Tuesday and let me know that the trip to Disney World was officially booked. So a flight would take off Monday, March 16th, 1987. We were landing at night. The next day, we were going to the pool and check out the stores and all the hotel itself. Then Wednesday was when we had a 4-day pass to Walt Disney World and Epcot Center, and we were leaving on Sunday the 22nd. I immediately thought, if we're leaving Monday, maybe I don't have to come back Sunday night after I visit. That means I have a full 7 days to spend time away from him. That's exactly what happened. The day before, I put a pair of shorts and a couple of T-shirts and underwear in a shopping bag along with my toothbrush. I was packed and ready to go. Sorry, there's edits here. I was packed and ready to go. When he stopped me, looking right into my eyes, he said, Jim, make sure you call me at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. He handed me a small piece of paper on which he had written, call 8 p.m. Saturday. Okay, don't forget. Bye, Dad, I said as the cab driver honked. I was out the door. When I got to the house, Rocky and my mom said we were going to the mall to go shopping. We headed to Kings Plaza, and Rocky bought me several pairs of new shorts, bathing suits, tank tops, T-shirts, a brand new pair of sneakers, and packages of new socks and underwear. Never experienced a shopping spree for myself before. I actually felt a little guilty and awkward for some reason, but it was definitely a good feeling to finally have nice new clothes since I had nothing. That Sunday was the first time I slept at my mom's house. The spare bedroom that led to the back terrace had a twin-size bed and dresser. Mom made sure that the sheets and blankets were washed and smelled like fabric soft. She asked if the clothes I brought needed to be washed or if I even wanted them anymore. I actually hesitated for a second. My father would eventually realize they were missing, find out that I trashed them, and I get smacked for throwing away quote-unquote perfectly good clothes. You could throw them away, Ma, I don't care. I was hardly able to fall asleep that night. I was excited to be going on a plane for the first time, and I was never on vacation like I was never on a vacation like this. Rocky ordered a limo to pick us up from the house to bring us to the airport that next week. I never thought I'd ever ride in a limo. Into the terminal, through a very long line to the ticket counter, and through security we went. Walking through the jetway, into the plane, and up. In a plane getting further away from Rockaway and closer to Florida, this was the best day ever. Once we landed, there was a man holding a sign with Rocky's last name on it. Followed him, and he had another limo waiting to take us to our hotel, the Contemporary Hotel, which is a deluxe resort with a monorail running directly through it, taking passengers to and from the Magic Kingdom all day long. It was a massive sight to see once inside. There were no hallways, 14 levels of rooms overlooking the giant open area, the Grand Canyon Concourse, where you could see the monorail arriving and departing, gift shops and several dining areas, several restaurants and cafes on the ground level. We checked in at the front desk, got our room, which was the first time I was ever in a hotel. I ran over to the windows and saw the entire theme park from where I was standing. Rocky and Mom let me loose. I ran amok around the hotel. We did everything possible over the next 4 days. We went on every ride imaginable at the Magic Kingdom, and we watched the fireworks every night at sundown. We ate at the Coral Reef restaurant, which was completely surrounded by giant fish tanks and various sharks, fish, eels, and sea turtles. It felt like you were dining under the ocean. Pretty cool for an 11-year-old. I didn't ask for anything, but of all the souvenirs Rocky would have picked out to buy me, he bought me a fake black 22 caliber revolver handgun. I guess the perfect souvenir to get from Disney World. I took pictures with the characters around the park, even had my too cool for school sister fake a smile in some of the photos with me also. By Saturday, we were all exhausted when we got back to the hotel. Since it was our last full night there, Rocky booked a 7 p.m. reservation at the Gulf Coast Room, one of the most elegant restaurants at Walt Disney World at the time. Dimly lit and away from the noise of the rest of the constantly busy hotel. It was the perfect way to cap off the most amazing week I ever experienced. Although I still didn't feel a bond with Rocky, in any way with Rocky, for whatever reason, almost felt like I was sitting there with my family. It was nice, calm, safe. Our appetizers showed up and we ate as we reminisced over the spent together. We were enjoying the moment and we're all smiling and laughing when my mom looked at me with a look of concern and a little disappointment in her eyes. Jim, what do you have to do? She asked softly. I had no idea what she was talking. What do you have to do at 8 o'clock so that your vacation won't be ruined at home? Shit, I had to call my father. I had completely forgotten about him in Rockaway for several days. Oh yeah, what time is it now? Almost 8, she answered as she picked up her pocketbook. She opened up her wallet and grabbed several quarters. As she handed them to me, she asked my sister to go with me to the payphone in the lobby. Slightly down the hall, there was a row of 6 telephones. I wasn't nervous or anxious at all. The call connected and the phone started ringing. On the third ring, my father answered. Hello. Hey, Dad. Hey, Jim. How are you? I'm good. You wanted me to call you at this time tonight. Yeah, are you having a good time? Yeah, I had a great time. Disney World is awesome. The hotel is the best. We're at a restaurant eating dinner now, and Mom reminded me that I needed to call you. I'm glad you had a nice vacation. You know I love you, Jim. Well, that seemed weird to me. Here. I love you too, Dad. Jim, I love you and wanted to let you know that I'm not going to be here when you get home. I wasn't sure if I heard him correctly. What? What do you mean? I won't be here. I won't be here anymore when you come home. I love you. It hit me like a ton of bricks all at once. He's abandoning. My mom already did this to me with my sister less than 2 years before. Now he's doing the same thing. I started to cry, which solidified my sister's suspicion something was wrong my side of the short conversation. I didn't say another word. My sister took the phone from me. I have no idea what he said. All I heard was her say, okay, and hung up the phone. That was that. It's gone. Both of us crying, we walked back into the restaurant to the table. My mom immediately asked what happened. When we told her, she was stunned, but don't think she was too surprised. I was sitting there with tears streaming down my face, wondering what was going to happen. Stop crying. People are staring and it's embarrassing. Were the first words that came out of Rocky's mouth. That's the first thing you say to a kid whose father just said goodbye forever. You'll live with your mother and sister in our house. You're coming with us now. Although I heard what he said, what he had just told me, the only thing I focused on was the comment about how he's embarrassed. It has always stuck. I didn't understand it fully at the time, but as I got older, it dawned on me, and I realized what part of his personality that statement felt. I think I'll cut it off right there. That's just a little snippet of that's like, I don't know, 2 pages from when I was like 11. But obviously you could see how something like that, my father just piecing out on the end of like the best week I ever had up to that point in my life, kind of, I guess, leave a mark. You know what I mean? And I just mentioned that, my mother had did that about a year and a half, a little less than 2 years before that. And I get into that, but it wasn't the same thing. There were reasons, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with that. So it's like within 2 years, mom and my sister's gone. Then I'm with them. Now dad's leaving. It's like, yo, man, I was like 9 and 11 or 8 and 11. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, these are formative years. You know what I mean? And it's like, all that. I don't blame. I'm not even going to get it, or else I'm just not going on a tangent and all that kind of shit. And I want to try to refrain from doing that, or else I'll be here. This is already a half hour. I thought this was going to be like 10 minutes long, but so I don't know exactly when the book is going to come out. Like I said, there's 4 more stages of edits. Also, like I said, I think the first stage takes the longest. There's going to be there's going to be a lot of cutting out, maybe rearranging some shit and making it a certain format and stuff like that. And then the final edit, the 5th edit, is called a line edit, where he literally goes letter by letter and space by space, making sure everything is spaced properly, punctuation, no typos. Like, that's like the last one. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here. I thought just for a handful of minutes and just give you guys an update, because like I said, I don't really promote it very much. I post on that group, or very rarely on my personal Facebook page. I post on that group on Facebook when I have something to really say. There is an Instagram for it. I would highly appreciate if you follow it. It's also at Relatively Unscathed. I made that one for the book. But the Blast Furnace podcast Instagram has been hacked, and it's been hacked for like 3 years or some shit at this point. Yeah, something like that. I have no access to it. So all the podcast stuff is also on at Relatively Unscathed on Instagram. So you get the book and the podcast on Relatively Unscathed on Instagram. Then you have the Blast Furnace group, which is on Facebook, and then you have the book group on Facebook as well. So yeah, that's it. Basically, just wanted to check in, and yeah, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a good holiday, whatever the hell you celebrate. Yeah, so that's about it. And if you have any questions, hit me up and I'll answer them. I ain't got nothing to hide. So if you want to know more, or maybe in a month or so or whatever, maybe even not a month, depending on how you guys respond. If you guys maybe want me to read something else from maybe several years down, some crazy limelight story or some kind of nonsense that I pulled at some point in my life, I'll read a couple of pages. But like I said, I can't guarantee what I'm going to read is going to stay in the book. because I'm not going to repeat myself. It's not done. All right? Everybody, be well. Only here now.